Okay, welcome back. Solo roll Mangging, Tales of Argosa. We're slowly but surely getting this system to where I'm really happy with it. It's in a pretty good place. But I'm changing my mind about a couple things. One with the system, one outside of the system. The thing that I want to change with the system is reverting a change I just made. I was trying out not having a spellcasting roll, because in Axe you don't have to roll to see if your spell goes off or not. The thing is, in Axe, in combat at least, you have to announce that you're casting a spell at the top of the round, and then if you take any damage or fail any saving throw before your turn comes up, the spell fails. So it's this very intense commitment to casting a spell that could easily just get thrown away. And so Tales of Argosa doesn't have that. And so I think there does need to be some theoretical chance of you losing a spell and it just going whiff, I don't think every game needs that. But in our case, yeah, it's probably the best to do it, because then, okay, intellect does matter, and your mage kind of needs to have a high intellect to cast arcane spells. I do think there is room within Tales of Argosa for another class. Perhaps a charisma-based caster class would be pretty interesting, so that not every magic user in the world is just smart. So I wouldn't mind seeing a sorcerer of some kind that does something a little different with magic, charisma-based. Alternatively, giving the bards a way to cast magic. It's like a little bit of magic could be interesting, but that's also, you dip into then just normal D&D bards, whereas the Argosa bard is kind of a unique entity somewhat. So yeah, we're gonna maintain the spell check. We're still ripping out the dark and dangerous magic thing, unless you roll a fumble, unless you roll a 20. But yeah, I do think it needs to be there. All right, then the thing that we're changing within the campaign here is that we're gonna ditch the slave pits of the Undercity. I don't know, it didn't really grab me immediately, and the map is just like, it borders on just unusable. And I've seen other complaints from people about it trying to run it that is just like not great, it's just not great. I don't know why, but it's just the whole place. The 10-foot square is always a little irksome, because the scale is so weird to me, and everything looks incredibly cramped even though it's not. And I don't know, just how dirty and I know this whole section is meant to look like rubble and be dirty and everything, but I don't know. The fact that I couldn't really find a better version of this map unless I paid for it is just like, I don't know. I wasn't. And the fact that it was designed as a tournament module and stuff, I don't know. So we're going to go with something different. We're going to go with a much newer module, and one for kind of a higher level. We're going to be doing Cloister of the Frog God for levels 4 to 6. This is from the First Hungarian D20 Society. Written by Gabor Lux, who I believe did Castles in Tillion as well, and a bunch of other ones. Highly kind of acclaimed adventure designer. I don't know if it's a single individual or not. I have no idea. I think it is. Pretty sure it is. But yeah, right. So I don't know what system this was intended for. Oh yeah, it's intended for Osric. OSRIC, which is something we really haven't mentioned before, but it is a retro clone of first edition AD&D. So it's just a sort of a reprint, or, reorganization sort of thing. Much like OSE is a redone version of BX, this is for AD&D. And it stands for Old School Reference and Index Compilation. Hot damn. Just gets you all excited. Yeah, so certainly not among the most popular in the OSR community. But, it's definitely got its fans. So this is written for that. But it's all broadly compatible. We shouldn't have too much issue. And it's for levels 4 to 6. So this should be more of a challenge for us, I'm hoping. So I didn't really read this yet at all, but I know that it takes place in this port town called Silvash, which is right on the edge of the marshland. A more of an overgrown village, and even so it shrinks year by year as the swamp retakes its outer quarters, and even fewer boats are moored along the stone-reinforced channels. So I've placed it, we're going to place it right here. Because it's got to be a port town, but it also has to be in the swamp, sort of. So it's going to be right there. The houses of Silvash, with their peaked straw rooftops, the dead cats hanging from tall poles, and bats nailed next to the doorways, seem more like diseased hovels than the dwellings of prosperous merchants. The inhabitants, whiling away their time sleeping in hammocks or smoking bitter herbs from their pipes, are more dirty, ragged, and lean ne'er-do-wells than proud citizens. The ones who do not smoke are driven to cough not by the tobacco, but by the miasmic environment. All in all, this is a place worthy of neither trading with nor conquering, and neither an inn nor a caravanserai is to be found. The only place of note is the Temple of Murtar. This beehive-shaped building of mud bricks is a veritable palace among the wretched huts and filthy channels. In the cool hall of the dark temple, smelling of birch smoke and decay, the sanctum is tended by the high priest Baktlu Badi and his 4 acolytes. All are wrinkled old men with several rings on their long fingers and rows after rows of gaudy necklaces. The idol behind the ragged leather curtain is an obese, naked human figure, which the acolytes clean and polish with great reverence. Baktlu Badi is called on the characters to request their assistance. As merchants have started avoiding town, it has become harder and harder to obtain the valuable sacred ointments and oils to polish Murtar's idol. And if Murtar's powers fade, that shall surely lead to Silvash's destruction. But there may be some hope yet. In the ominous ruins of the cloister of the Frog God, or perhaps the under-temples and crypts underneath, they might be found in abundance if there was someone to obtain them. In exchange, Murtar would be very generous with gold. 5,000 gold pieces for every 100 weight of the sacred materials recovered, and the temple's old pleasure barge properly repaired. And if the followers of the Frog would suffer heavy losses during the character's visit, Murtar would not mind. I think we'll probably be dropping that number down to 500 gold for every 100 weight of sacred materials recovered. But we'll see. The venerable high priest offers 3 pieces of assistance for the journey. He can provide them with a large raft, outfitted with oars, machetes, a crowbar, an oil lamp, 3 kegs of oil, 5 torches, a tent, 50 feet of rope, dried fish for 5 days, a jar of leeches, net, mortar, bags, and pots. He can give them the taxation seal, one of the temple's greatest treasures. This precious object, a cuneiform inscribed clay tube hanging from a leather strap, entitles the bearer to collect the annual taxes on Murtar's behalf or ask other favors in his name. Trusting the character's competence, Baktlu Badi wisely forgets to tell the company that only 8 months have elapsed since the latest round of taxes, and that the seal's subjects may be reluctant to pay up, but let that be their problem. If the characters are insistent, he can offer them 3 potions. Healing, diminution, and if they press the issue far beyond comfort, a potion of invisibility. Okay. So here we have kind of our point crawl. That's what they call this, where there's just a zoomed in map to a degree, and then rather than broken up into hexes, it just breaks things up into points, and you're traveling between points. And, you know, you don't worry as much about specific distances for a lot of these because you're just traveling between points. Doesn't mean there's no random encounters or, you know, situations, but it's not as specific as a hex crawl and broken up that way. I think point crawl is something far more common nowadays, especially in like modern games compared to a hex crawl. Because hex crawl's function is mostly due to being a sandbox campaign, and it allows for very clear and precise movement and exploration and everything like that. But if you're just running like an adventure in a region or something, and you know that you have multiple points of interest, it can be a lot easier just to make it a point crawl. Alright, so we have all these different locations, blah, blah, blah. Quite a bit, and then eventually you get to Cloister of the Frog God. Yes, okay, and then the inner cloister, and then the under temples, and we're gonna get down there, and oh, it's gonna be juicy. It's gonna be an extensive one for sure. The information seems pretty compact, and we have 44 pages for this document. All right, so first we have to get to Sylvash. So let's label this place as Sylvash. Whoops. Get there. Sylvash. Okay. So, yeah, we gotta get there. Yeah, I will say we're in Bypest. We never left Bypest. That plot hook never came up, and this plot hook came up instead, where there's word from around the bend, this swamp town, and the religious, the high priest there, offering up a pretty hefty sum of money to adventurers willing to take on quite a dangerous task. So I guess we could just rent a boat to go swoop around, and that's probably a lot faster than going all the way around by road. Do we think Axe has numbers for hiring a boat? I would be surprised if it didn't. There's a lot of rules for fucking sea travel. Jesus. Shockingly, though, no, I don't see information on that. I guess at a certain point, you just kind of have to pick a number. Tales of Argosa does have information. I just thought it was kind of ridiculous. I wasn't happy with it. It's saying 20 gold per day. which just feels way too high. D&D 5e recommends 1 silver piece per mile per passenger. Okay, let's go by that then, and let's just calculate it. And assume they set out from here. Again, this is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Let's go 20. So it's 2 gold per passenger. For 5 of us, that's 10 gold. That seems like a more reasonable value. So we're going to spend 10 gold to make the trip nice and safe. There is a chance of an oceanic encounter, so I guess we'll roll like once. It's probably like a 1-day trip, so we'll just roll once. 1d6, we roll a 1. We didn't, so we're good. Pretty safe trip that they probably take quite a bit. Alright, we arrive in Sylvash. All is well. We meet with Bakdlu Body, and he tells us what the job is. I don't really like the dead cats hanging from posts. I could do without that. And he provides us with this large raft. We'll skip over the taxation seal, and we won't press him for potions or anything, but yeah, alright, he gives us this fully stocked raft to take into the marshlands, which are a maze of relatively clean water channels hemmed in by reeds, sickly-looking trees, and ever-present vines. Water is slowly flowing towards the sea across the wetlands, but it is easy to travel by raft in any direction. The fetid mire is crawling with life. The air is loud with the buzz of mosquitoes and the chatter of fowl, and the waters are overflowing with fat fish. Innumerable birds nest in the reeds. Movement. Depending on the pace the characters are dictating, they can move 6 to 8 sections per day, counted in stretches of water between intersections. Finding food will not be a problem. A day's rations for the whole party can be found at the cost of 1 move. That's pretty good. Alright, 1 in 6 chance every time characters travel from one location to another, and 3 times per night, unless shelter is available. A simple shelter reduces nighttime encounter checks to 2, an elaborate 1 to 1, and a safe 1 to none. Well, that's really good to know. Now, would you communicate that to your players? I think I'd probably communicate it to my players, because they're kind of thick. And just, you know, they might not think about, like, oh yes, like a good safe shelter would be a good thing to have, and it would cut down on killer frogs and snakes crawling into our bedrolls. Alright, so we are here in Sylvash, so our first destination will be towards A. And we'll say it's just a fresh day, 8 in the morning when we set out here. Okay? So, first thing is first, unless there's anything we want to prepare for or buy. Let's make sure. I don't think I have anything. I think we're all full up on all our stuff. Yes, so we should be good. Alright, so we'll roll the first d6, and we have our first random encounter. Well, that's how it goes sometimes. So, set out straight from the town, the village, and we're going to run into a d12. 7. Constrictor snakes, 1d2. It will be 1 constrictor snake. So these are going to have an AC of 14, 6 hit dice, plus 1, which means that they have about 28 health. Yeah, okay, so they give a range of HP, but 28 is the average value, so we're gonna go with that. All right, so how does this thing? We're on a raft, you know. I don't know how big this thing is meant to be. If it's like an anaconda or something. Let's take a gander at the giant serpent. Probably gonna be way too big. Vary in size and color, but it's generally 8 to 12 feet long, 1 or 2 feet thick at their widest point. Blah, blah, blah. So these are poisonous. These are not constrictor snakes. They kind of do both, I guess. Which I don't think is really realistic. They're either venomous or they constrict. Right? Isn't it usually like, why would you need 2 forms to kill your prey? Let's see. Yeah, anacondas are not venomous. So this is definitely fantasy kind of stuff. I was just looking at the reaction rolls. So 2 to 6, the violent, 7 to 9, ravenous, 10 to 12, curious. All right, I'll just roll 2d6, although it doesn't tell us a whole bunch. All right, so it's curious about us. So it's not going to be hostile unless we decide to make it hostile. So I'm trying to picture this raft because they describe just a fucking laundry list of shit that's on this raft. Oars, oil lamp, 3 kegs of oil, a tent. I don't know, it seems like a big raft. Unless my definition of raft is different than most. But, yeah, it's a flat structure. Okay, yeah, so it's flat, you know, and it floats, and it can carry all of us and everything. I guess I'd say that we just kind of notice this giant snake, like, slither onto the raft. And then I would turn to the players and say, what do you do? We tend to kill stuff, don't we? Because I'm sure we can one round this thing. But alright, I'll roll an oracle of do we attack? Oh, we sure do. We are not settling for this thing. I think if anyone were to approach in melee, it probably would take it as a hostile action, so I'm just going to give Corin a free shot with advantage. And she missed. Huh. I don't think I think it was an actual miss then. I don't think it, like, bounced off its hide. That seems kind of strange. Does that anger it? Is the question. No, okay. I'm gonna give her a second shot then. There we go. Now that's a fucking hit. 13 damage. So now we'll roll initiative. Okay. Now she'll take a second shot. 7 damage, so that's 20 already. And we got a d12 on the missile table of 3. We disarm the snake. Of course we do. Danton will stab it. No, he will not. Tress will stab it. She will not. Alright, well then Villagrad will fucking shoot it in the face. That is a hit for 9 damage, and I think that kills it, because that was 20 plus 9, and it had 28. So, blow its head right the fuck off. The black powder weapon, baby. Does not mess around. Alright, well that was our random encounter. I don't even know if that wasn't really a significant combat, so it was just nothing. It was just we like to kill shit. That's what that was. Alright, but we arrive at A now. Ruined walls on a tiny island surround a small bell tower. Pilgrims from Silvash sometimes perform sacrifices here, leaving behind flower garlands, colorful glass shards, and metallic objects. If the old bronze bell is rung, the sacrifices placed around the ruin are consumed by rot and rust, and the character's food and water spoils. If the bell is damaged, the defiler must save versus death or age 10 years for every point by which the save was missed. Alright, do we get off to investigate the bell tower? We do not. Alright, so we just are like, oh, look at that. Look at that bell tower there. Bell is still hanging. And then we're going to continue on to B. B? There's also slimy water to the north. Do we know where we're trying to get? Vaguely, maybe? I mean, we're trying to get to M. So I guess if we want a pretty direct route, we're going to B now. Encounter check. Nope, we're good. So now we'll go to B. A crumbling wall protrudes from the water with reliefs of male and female dancers. The cracks in the wall are overrun with swamp slitherers, tiny black toothy horrors able to leap great distances. They attack the curious. "12 of them, which, if they successfully hit you, they attach and then automatically damage you. Fucking 12 of them. Would we investigate? I think this is even less likely. All we see is just a crumbling wall. So I'll say this is unlikely. Do we investigate? Well, it's a 10, which is a twist. If I want to incorporate a twist on the question of do we investigate? I don't know what possible twist that could be. I mean, I could just have Villagrad shoot it with his black powder weapon. But I don't know. I always struggle with the twists. So that's why we default to just saying no in those cases. So, okay. We'll move on. Next is C. We'll roll the random encounter check. We're good. We're making great progress. Black nets. Revolting, tattered miasmas hang from the tree branches to the water surface, blocking the shorter way. They resemble nettles, causing reddish welts on touch. Save versus poison, or -2 to all rolls until an antidote is received. They are impervious to fire due to their wetness, but fall upon prodding. Save versus paralysis to avoid getting caught. Blocking the shorter way. The shorter way to what? Oh, I assume this way. Okay, well, yes, because we were trying to go straight north. So we'd have to go through there, go to the west to whatever this crater is, or go to east through slimy water. Well, I don't know what the crater is. I don't know if I could see it or anything. Possibly just, big sinkhole that we'd have to worry about. So I guess we'll go towards slimy water. Or go around it, hopefully. So random encounter check. We're good. Piers built from decrepit boards stand on the swampy side of this miserable village inhabited by half-orcs. The people of the settlement live in dismal huts and wear mixed human and orc features. Hairy backs, protruding paunches, and swine noses. Six-teated mothers nursing their contentedly grunting little ones. Nude children running around. I'm sure there's some sort of ethical joke you could make about northern British people or so. I don't know. I'm not going to pick any demographic to make fun of there, but insert your own joke about your local people here. The marsh side is watched by 3 guards: Belly Hang, Snot Spit, and Wobble Fat. All wear badly made leather armor as well as large brass discs around their necks to mark them as servants of Lord Sneck. Their arms are halberds, with lanterns hanging on them, more ceremonial than useful, and sabers. At first, they demand duties, gate tax, and a trespassing fee, all 3 separately, but they are easy to fool or intimidate. They ultimately try to escort the newcomers before Lord Sneck. Alright, so there's some sort of, There would have to be some sort of thing that would bar our progress. I don't think we're going to get any more information here about what exactly the nature of this blockade is. But you know, you can assume any sort of water gate kind of thing. Because they're charging a gate tax. So they demand duties, gate tax, and a trespassing fee. Or I could just shoot them in the fucking face and move on ourselves. Like, are we really gonna get out of our raft in this place to go see Lord Sneck? Well, it's just, do we pay the taxes? No. All right. So we can tell we're getting hustled, and we're not that much of doormats that we're just gonna take it. Do we want to cast a magic spell on them, or do we want to kill them? Because I could just cast Slumber, and chances are that they would just go to sleep. I don't really want to kill him, because that seems not super heroic. I guess we could try and just use our words, and just like, look, you know, we're on important business here. Stay out of our way if you know what's good for you, kind of thing. Blah, blah, blah. The problem is none of our group has very high charisma. I was gonna say Tress could use persuasion, but she's a female elf, and I feel like these male half-orc sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess yokels. I don't really envision them taking kindly to being told to fuck off by her. So I feel like I'd have to put a penalty on that roll. Whereas Danton, he's like Gaston, you know, he's the man. He's muscular, he's armed, he's wearing heavy armor, heavier armor. He's got it all together. They're gonna listen to him and be afraid of him. It's unfair to Tress, I know, but she is a female elf and she's talking to half-orcs and trying to intimidate them. So, alright, I guess we'll give it a shot first of just using our words, because why not? Well, wait a minute. Does Tales of Argosa talk about this at all? Call for a charisma check. Skill may apply. Yeah, okay. It's pretty much just charisma check, and depending on how much you succeed or fail or things like that, that's how it goes. So, alright, we'll just roll charisma. And... Alright, we failed. They're not thoroughly intimidated by our group enough to want to waive that amount of taxes. They must not get too many people coming through, so they're going to try to milk it for what it's worth. So while they're chatting and the half-orcs are insistent on these taxes, Villegrad's going to try to covertly cast Slumber on them. So there's going to be a dex check to see if he can stealthily do the hand motions. Alright, he succeeded by 1, and this is against their perception. They failed that, so they don't notice him casting his magic words. And now we have to cast spell. And this is +1 because of arcane lore. Success. So now they are hit dice 2 from what I saw. Yeah, they are fighter 2. So they are going to each get a save. Luck will. So we will just run it as Scorn. All orcs are Scorn. Because that is a hit dice 2 orc creature. So their luck is 5 and their will is 8. Which I believe is a -1. So they need a 4 or lower. They did not get it. So nighty night. Nighty night to the orcs. Yeah, okay. So then Danton will just hop off and raise the gate ourselves. And we'll move on our merry way. So now we're going to continue on and we can go to G, which has more bullshit in the way. Or we can go to F. I don't know would we notice that they're there on G? I have no idea the scale of miles that the marshlands he has here. We do want to think about how far we can move. We can move 6 to 8 sections, depending on the pace that we're dictating. Doesn't really go into much of the pace, but yeah, needless to say, we can move at least 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting pretty close, but we don't want to stay in slimy water. Maybe we can see another settlement over here, an I. Might be something. So I guess let's go to F and then end on I for the day. F. Random encounter check. We're good. Island of the Frogs. Although shrubs and saplings have overgrown this low hill, one can easily see the bent old standing stones forming a stone circle through the vegetation. The frog cultists only visit occasionally, 1 in 12 chance. Let's roll it. No. But frogs are always abundant here. Those who visit the island have a 1 in 2 chance to be attacked by 3d10 killer frogs. Frogs will surround and devour their victims. The stones are covered in moss and lichen, and in the pit dug in the center there are charred bones and a battered old brass cauldron. The patterns of this vessel depict the priests of the frog as they perform sacrifice with the cauldron to their felled deity. Those who decipher and follow the instructions, boiling herbs within before inhaling the steam, will find the following boons. A random character will be possessed by a higher power and proclaim, "Go forth and pull down the weakened and thin-blooded brothers, and I shall lift you up as the new crusaders of my order." Characters accepting the quest may select a 1-use second-level cleric spell of their choice, and the character making the proclamation will also gain a 1-use insect play. From now on, the characters will not be bothered by frogs or giant frogs. Destroying the cauldron is a good deed, but attracts the ire of the great Satogus. From now on, random encounter checks in the marshlands have 1 in 6 of drawing killer frogs and 1 in 6 of a regular encounter. However, Abbot Grosso loses the ability to create more of the cauldron born, since certain components of their brew must be prepared here during the night. Beneath the fire pit lie 12,000 buried gold pieces, hidden here by the old order and now completely forgotten. Jeez. Do we investigate the Island of the Frogs? No. Okay, we're moving on. Hey, I mean, I'm rolling. Any one of the we could have investigated all these things and probably died. So that's good. So now we're going to continue on to random encounter. Nope. Lillian the Wizardress. Creepers and colorful flowers decorate a small tower and island rising from the swamp. 2 skiffs rest by a newly built stone pier. This is the home of Lillian the Wizardess. Illusionist 6, shared only with her half-orc servant Hushuk, Assassin 2. Lillian is in her 40s, dressing in yellows and purples. She receives visitors politely, but is not really happy about their arrival. After a long period of unease, she could finally reach rapport with the followers of the frog and does not want to upset the status quo. Lillian's tower is full of flowers on the inside. Colorful petals nod and leaves litter the floor, the scent mingling with the vapors of tea. Lillian pours the purple drink from a screw-necked decanter into glasses the shape of bluebells. Pleasant, but -2 to saving throws against mind-affecting spells until slept off. If she is asked for her advice, she tells characters directly that she is the one to live with the consequences if the frog cultists get upset and wishes to be left alone. Thus, taxation seal or not, she will not reveal anything that compromises her neutrality. If the characters are clever, her denials can be quite telling. She believes the sacred ointment and oils may be found at 3 locations: the cloister's carefully guarded undertemple, the crypt of Abbot Singamon in the catacombs, somewhere beneath the abandoned inner cloister, or the secret temple of Satogus, found deep under the catacombs. If she is asked for a tithe, she pays it with an opal worth 750 gold pieces and 4 homemade reinvigorating biscuits made from wasps' hearts and primrose flower. Wow, those are pretty good. Whatever the conversation's direction, Lillian makes sure to send Hushuk to send a message to Abbot Grosso to notify him that visitors looking for the cloister had sought out her tower. This will do for insurance, and she wouldn't really mind the monks taking a beating. If the company is sufficiently paranoid, they may apprehend Hushuk's skiff on his way, and the half-orc is cowardly enough to spill the whole deal. Otherwise, Lillian is not a fighter. If a conflict breaks out, she tries to flee with her ring of gateways, leaving behind the chest under her bed. 3,000 silver pieces, 1,200 gold pieces. Her real treasures are carefully hidden in the chimney behind a loose stone. 300 gold piece pearls, 3,000 gold piece enameled bracelet, and her spell book. If she's killed, her body collapses into a heap of flowers and leaves to be blown away by the winds. Her tower follows in a turn, leaving behind an old tree stump. Okay. So let's go over this. She's an illusionist. She's a wizardess. She has a half-orc servant who's sort of an assassin. She receives visitors politely, but is not really happy about their arrival. Because she's close to finally making some sort of rapport with the followers of the frog. Doesn't really, I think she kind of fears the followers of the frog then. So she doesn't really want to upset things. She doesn't want them angry at her. She likes being here, apparently. I don't know why. She's obviously into nature quite a bit. So this is where she wants to be. And so, yeah, us poking around. Wanting to head into the cloister and messing with the frog people is not in her interest. And she'll tell them directly, basically. You know, she's not really going to hide that fact or anything. But she does make sure to send her assistant, her servant, to Abbot Grosso, I guess, some sort of guy within the cloister, warning him in advance that there's people coming. But I guess I don't know who Abbot Grosso is, because she says she wouldn't really mind the monks taking a beating. So the leader of the congregation is Abbot Grosso, the evil high priest. Okay, well, yeah, so that's her insurance, I guess, then. It's like either these adventurers wipe out the whole place, which she's happy with, or they die and she warned, you know, the guy, which helps in that case for her situation. So yeah, that's how that all plays out. We don't really get a map or anything of the tower. We don't really even get much of a description of the tower, except that it's small. So I doubt there's room in there for us to bed down for the night. But there might be on the floor. So we're stopping here no matter what, because the day's nearly done. And we will greet, you know, this wizardess and have this conversation. And I guess, yeah, we're going to have to ask her if she minds if we spend the night inside the tower, because, you know, it's kind of dangerous out there. Would she allow us? I guess it's an oracle question. Does she allow that? No, she's not willing to accommodate us in that way. She politely refuses our request. So now we either have to, like, murder her in order to spend the night here, or we're just out there by ourselves. I do have the supplies ability, so I could bring a tent. It's not much of a thing. It's really not much to protect us. Large tent can sleep 8 men. Large tent is 20 gold. And then let me check the supply text. Automatically add 1d4 mundane items to your equipment list. The items must have a common theme. Particularly expensive or bulky items may not be permitted at the GM's discretion. I think if I just want a tent, and that's it, a large tent, and that's the whole use of my ability for the whole adventure. Well, until we get back to a village, town, or city. I don't think it's that outrageous. And having the tents... Would we call that a simple shelter? Maybe an elaborate one. It's probably an elaborate shelter, but not safe. Sorry, we'll post up near the tower. So our boat's here. We will use supplies to have our large tent. Which I think takes up 2 slots, to be honest. I feel like I have to rule that it takes up 2 slots. Also, I'm pretty sure we've used a whole oil flask by now. Oh yeah, I gave her a sling. Didn't I give her armor at some point? Wasn't there armor involved? AC 12, yes, but I didn't add an item of armor? Because it should be leather. Or did I not? I must have. But I guess we'll just say fucking drop her AC to 10. So she's got a weapon that's 1 slot, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So she has 4 slots left. I really should have bought rations, but I never remembered. So I guess we didn't. But she'll carry the tent. For now. So I don't need it anymore. Large tent. 2 slots. Done. Oh yeah, so we'll set that up and settle in for the night, which is going to be 1d6 chance. All right, we are good. Night goes by. Now, she's sending her a servant to go send a message to Abbot Grosso, and she wants him to obviously arrive ahead of us. Would she have sent him immediately? Probably not. It was getting dark, and we were camped out nearby, so probably she told him to, first light, get out there. Speed your way. I think we're probably not... I don't know, we probably bunked up pretty close to our boat at this pier. We didn't really ask her if we could use her pier, but we did. So, I think maybe there's a perception versus dex here. I'm gonna roll his dex. Okay, 13. That's probably right on the money of a success for him. Give or take. Give or take. And I'm going to roll Corin's perception with disadvantage because she's sleeping. Okay, so we do not notice him departing. But we're probably not that far off from waking up and getting on with ourselves anyways. It's, it's not that you're staying up all night swapping stories and reading books or things like that. Like, it's okay, it's dark, go to bed, and get up when it's light. That's how it works. So we probably do get up a short time after he leaves, and we notice that one of the boats that was there is now gone. And we do know that she told us that she doesn't want us interfering with how the status quo. So we might put two and two together that she's now sent some sort of warning. So needless to say, we'll pack up quickly and continue on. So we're here. We're going to go ahead to J at this point. And we're going to roll a random encounter. We're good. This evil green colony has turned the water surface into a thick miasma. They like that word. A skiff drifts in the middle with a half-consumed corpse inside whose bones are already protruding. The moss attacks those who venture into it, striking from multiple directions. The cadaver wears a monk's green habit. His haversack and the cheese and bread within have been infected by the green horror, but the symbol of the frog around his neck is intact. Am I to assume that there is no way to cross through this intersection without going through this green moss? I feel like that's probably the case, right? Yeah, alright, so this is going to be combat. We're going to roll perception versus its dexterity, stealth roll. We rolled a 13. Kind of hard to say. It's an ooze, or a moss. So we should have something to go off of. Ochre jelly is kind of high-end. Gray ooze is more what we're looking at. They have a dex of 16. So that was a success margin of 3. Our perception margin 7. So we do notice this moss kind of bubbling up a little bit and starting to rise up towards us. And initiative. Okay, failure. This is gonna hurt. So it gets 6 pseudopods. It's gonna definitely attack everybody, and it's gonna attack some people twice. As usual, there's not really any good logical reason of why Eilith wouldn't get attacked. Unless part of the avoiding surprise here is that we quickly bunkered around Eilith. Which is fair enough, I suppose. Shielded her with our bodies, 'cause she's too valuable. So, let's have... I don't know. Let me just roll a d4 here. Corin's gonna get hit twice, and Danton's gonna get hit twice. Okay. So these are gonna be +6 on the roll. This thing's pretty hefty. 1d6 damage, and... Are we assuming that's an automatic grab? Probably, right? It's got 32 health, blah, blah, blah. So, the first one against Tress, miss. Against Villagrad, hit. Against Corin, hit. Against Danton, miss. Against Corin, hit. Against Danton, hit. So, hit, 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 hit. Okay. So against Villagrad, 4 damage. Corin takes 2d6 of 6 damage. Danton takes 2 damage. So 3 of the 4 are now grabbed by pseudopods. And so they'll be taking automatic damage from those 4 pseudopods. So we're gonna have to start butchering. Pretty sure they get a -2 on attack rolls because they're grabbed. If we're gonna go with that. Yeah, -2 and cannot move without breaking the grab. But it is a no action to break a grab. It's an opposed strength check. These things have a strength of 18. Great. Well, they're all gonna do that. Yeah, they're all gonna do that. So, Viligrad, it rolls an 18. So, success margin of 0. He failed, so he does not break. Corin, it rolls an 18, success margin of 0. She gets a great success, so she breaks out of one of the two. The other one has a success margin of 8. She only has 2, so she's still grabbed. And Danton, it rolls a success margin of 0. Wow. Alright, so he breaks out. So the only one left grabbed is still... Well, Corin and Viligrad have grabbed by 1 each. Alright, that was all no action. So Danton is... Yeah, I guess he's just gonna stab it. That's what he does. That's what he do. And this thing has an AC of 12. We'll go with it. I guess we're just going off of Grey Ooze stats, because otherwise this thing has an AC of 13. We'll go with Tales of Argosa. Because obviously, you know, obviously. So, 6 points of damage. I could attempt a major exploit of some kind. If I wanted to keep sort of swinging and stabbing my spear wildly to try and break the grabs on the other two, which would be quite beneficial. So I guess we'll attempt a major exploit. So this is going to be a luck, probably strength. I think that's fair. Success. Was that all there was to it, or was there some other step that I haven't done a major exploit in a while? Yeah, that's it. It's just a luck check. And you obviously lose the luck point, which we did. But yeah, we will it's one target, so this isn't increased damage or anything, but I cause it to relinquish grabs on the other two. And now Corin is just going to shoot it in response. 9 damage. So we've done 15 to it out of 32. So it's got 17 left. Tress will join Danton to stab it. +1. That is a hit for another 7. So it's at 22 out of 32. Down. Viligrad will shoot it, as he does, you know. He likes to shoot. Yeah, he'll just shoot it. That is a miss, unfortunately. That's very loud. And I need to double check. It reloads as a crossbow. Usually it's just give up your movement. But let's double check. Nope, this is an action to reload. And if you suffer any damage during a reload round, the action is lost. Okay, it's kind of harsh. So it's once every other round. Yeah, I mean, on average, compared to a short bow, it's going to do like twice as much. and definitely has a much higher ceiling. Slightly it's lower range, sure. But yeah, okay. I'm just looking at the crossbow. All right, that's the end of the round, so a new round. Failure again. It took quite a beating. I could see it making a morale check. If that's something that it would do. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not actually using a gray ooze, but it's relatively similar. I don't know. I don't see why it wouldn't. Oh, well, this man-eating boss has a morale of 12, which generally means that it's not immune, or that it's immune to morale checks. So no, it's gonna continue. And I guess it'll just make 6 more attacks. You know, when we were doing that Roper fight a long time back in Shadow Dark, we were tracking individual tentacles that we could cut off, and then it lowered the number of attacks. Honestly, I think that's what I should have done with the major exploit, is maybe actually slice off individual pseudopods. So maybe that's what I did, and cut off both of those. So now it only has 4 attacks, and it'll attack once each. So against Tress, hit. Villagrad, miss. Porin, miss. And Danton, crit. He could negate it with his helmet. But it's really not that threatening. I don't know if we really went over what enemy crits are. Well, I mean, I guess their level is their hit dice. So a crit would just be max damage plus half their level, and this is 6, so 3, so 9 damage on a crit. The fact that I noticed it and thought of it, I'm gonna just negate it. It latches on, smashes into his helmet, and destroys it as it flies off. So that's good. So really just Tress takes 1d6 damage, 6. Painful, and it's grabbed onto her. But that's alright, because now Corrin is going to kill it. Yeah, she sure did. She rolled 10 damage, plus 3. Very dead. Okay, that's it. Now that was a significant combat, I would say. We don't have many of those, but that one was. 35, and we're going to be short resting. She didn't really use anything else, so yes. 17. Villagrad does have a spell down, and he took damage, so he will do both. As usual, his spell is kind of more important, so I guess we'll go there. Do we want to re-roll? For 4 health? Not super inclined to do so. So we'll hold off. Corrin got 1 success. That's fine. He's just going to recover some health. And then Danton. He didn't really use anything, but hey, you can get a health back. And why wouldn't you? Costs you nothing. Okay, that was that. Now, the half-consumed corpse. Now, to be clear, you wouldn't just say to the players, like, oh yeah, and you drift into this green area in the water and you get attacked. Like, you would tell them about the water and sort of the heavy moss look to it and everything, and there's a boat in the middle of it with a half-consumed corpse, bones protruding out of it on a boat. And then it's just up to the players, and yeah, they might decide in the end to just go through it, because it's quite time-consuming to go all the way. Like, if they wanted to sail around that, they'd have to go back 1, 2, and then here to 3. That would be 3 random encounter checks. Or they could just try and go across it. Unless they have some other way to move the raft over water. Villegrad does have levitation. So they could go onto land or somewhat solid ground and then levitate the raft and then push it on the land so that it goes over. If you were really scared of what was going on there, yes, that would be what you'd do. But yeah, we just went in, and that was that. So now we either go to L or Sackshore. I assume Sackshore is another settlement of some kind. It's a small half-orc village. We'd probably avoid settlements. So I guess we're gonna go towards L, which is just a watchtower. So we'll roll a d6, no random encounter. Alright. The slimy water has long conquered this tower. Someone has placed skulls in the lower windows and filled them with glowing frog eggs. Those who approach will experience ringing ears, then the skulls send strange, troubling, and confused thoughts into their minds via telepathy. Those who fail a save versus paralysis will suffer a headache so heinous that they have a 1 in 3 of missing any round until they leave the area or the skulls are destroyed. The tower interior is the lair of 6 giant frogs lurking underwater. A relief on the wall depicts the dead of the swamps bowing before a great bloated frog. This image has been cleaned of moss and earth and smeared with some kind of greasy unguent. Alright, so basically we'd be sailing by. We don't even have any intentions of going in, but now we have to make saves. This is just a luck drain, basically. So this is going to be int or will? I guess probably will. Success? Failure. So now that's a fun thing, is you wouldn't tell your players what the effect is until they've all rolled. And so they'd have to decide, like, oh god, should I use my reroll on this? Not knowing how, like, minor this actually is. So then you get them to waste even more resources. It's all just a fucking thing of attrition. Yeah, I mean, when in doubt, I guess you would probably use your reroll. He failed the second time, so he's afflicted. Oh, Orin, terrible failure. Reroll. There you go. And Danton. Okay, so we've suitably drained luck from most of them a bit. Those that failed, which is just Corin and Villegrad. No, it's just Villegrad. Just gets afflicted with this insanely intense headache. Like, can barely concentrate. Your ears are ringing. thoughts are all jumbled. Seems to be stemming from these skulls with glowing eyes coming, you know, sitting in the window of the tower there. Would we try and destroy them? Would we blast them? Or would we just sail on? I feel like Villagrad has to try and shoot it with his gun, right? So got a 1 in 3 chance of missing. So if I roll a 1 or a 2, all right. So he doesn't automatically miss from the headache, and then it's just a shot, I guess, and we just assign like an AC value. Could just do it as a perception check, I suppose. But yeah, we'll just have him roll an attack, and we'll put an AC. It's a stationary target. Blah blah blah. Probably just an AC of 10. It's kind of small target to hit, so we'll just do 10. All right, he definitely just, and it erupts in bone fragments, and the echo just, you know, the shot rings out across the whole area, causing birds to fly up and all that stuff. And there's other skulls. I don't know how many there are. 4 maybe, but his headache definitely feels slightly better, but also slightly worse because of the gunshot. I don't know. I think at that point we would just sail on and get the fuck out of here. But yeah, okay. So then we finally are going to arrive at the cloister. So one more random encounter check. We're good. We arrive. Old structures stand on the overgrown ridge rising from the still algaic waters. The vineyards of the southern slope have been swallowed by hardy shrubs and growing saplings, but 3 open entrances can be seen with a little observation. The cliffs on the northern side are steep. 3 cave mouths are found next to each other at the water level. The cloister is divided into 3 distinct sections. The central part lies in dilapidated ruin, and only tumbled walls remain standing with lonesome arches and piles of rubble. The western part, the outer cloister, is intact, most of its bulk forming a temple, with a small garden to the east and a path from the west leading to a harbor with a large ceremonial barge. The eastern part, forming the fortified inner cloister, is intact, but looks uninhabited. A serpentine path leads up to its gates. Let's look at the map here. So, kind of hard to tell what's water here. What sort of imagery is on this map? Just trying to find like alternative maps. There aren't really that many. Right, there's like the whole here. So so we can take this and rotate it. You're not gonna let me. There's really no rotate in the snip. No. There we go. Let's do that. Okay, so I think, yeah, this stuff here, this is the water, right? I would assume. Oh, this fully exterior stuff is all water. So where this line starts, this is ground. Yes, okay. So CL10. CL10 is... This whole area is vineyards. This southern section there, that's all vineyards. Swallowed by hardy shrubs and growing saplings. 3 open entrances can be seen with a little observation. Right. So, the nature of those entrances, TBD. Probably have to scroll down here to CL10. Overgrown with briar and thistle, mossy ancient trees grow stunted and monstrous. There are bunches of wild grapes on the vines, but theirs is a sour vintage, and 4 of the plants are killer vines. Great. You don't have any information about where CL10 leads into? I guess that's probably also on the map. To DL1... Oh, I see. DL1I, J, or K. So that would be dungeon level 1. J, K, I. Alright, so this DL1J, I, K. These 3 on dungeon level 1. Still don't really have any information about what kind of entrances it is. If it's just like... I don't know, I'm picturing something from Elden Ring. You know, like one of those catacomb entrances or something is pretty much what I'm picturing. So we can see the inner cloister. So we see these thick walls on the eastern side. We can see the outer cloister. Also walls. Let me just get another description of the walls there. So the central part is just ruins. Tumbled walls. Pile of rubble and stuff like that. So this is all just rubble, and we can see that there's no walls standing here of any size or quantity. The outer cloister to the west is intact. Looks like a temple. There is a path leading to a harbor with a large ceremonial barge. Which I don't even know if that's on the map here. And then the eastern part, the fortified inner cloister is intact, looks uninhabited. I don't know how we can really tell that. But yeah. Then there's, on the north side, cliffs. This is all cliffs up here. But we do see 3 cave mouths found next to each other. Now, what is CL11? That's the harbor. That's a different harbor. Okay, so if we wanted to sail around a little bit, we would see a rotted pier there with a half-sunken barge next to it. So if we wanted to go into the rear, what is our really information? We know that there's individuals here. The wizard has talked about how there's... What did she call them? Frog cultists. So she knows there's frog... We know there's frog cultists here. We know that this is a dangerous task. Yeah, some sort of dark frog god, and there's crazy cultists that live out here within this place. So that's all known information. So I don't think we have any qualms about killing anyone here, or also being sneaky in our endeavors. So I think trying to get into the inner cloister from the rear through this rotted pier and stuff is probably our best bet. I think that's what we're going to go for. Silence mixed with an aura of dread desolation shrouds the inner cloister, battered by constant winds. This is a place of decay and abandonment. Due to a conjuration gone wrong, 4 invisible stalkers were set loose by the former abbot, and they proceeded to slay all within the walls. Those who investigated from the outer cloister were attacked by the thin air itself, which tore a few hapless acolytes into bloody bits. Nobody dares bother this place now. The extraplanar monsters still roam the empty halls looking for live prey, but usually remain inside the building, except one which likes to grind human bones in the mill, CL14. Random encounters are checked each turn with cumulative odds. So we use the underclock, of course. I'm not quite sure how to evaluate that. To convert that, other than doing like first turn is d6, second turn you do 2d6, third turn you do 3d6, because I mean, frankly, it sounds like they're meant to attack pretty often, because it doesn't lower than 2d6 or 2 and 6. The invisible stalkers attack from surprise and retreat for a while if heavily wounded, but will be back soon enough. These are 8 hit dice monsters, AC of 16, dealing 4d4 damage, and they're invisible. So, a surprise on a 5 out of 6 chance. And they have magic resistance 30%. These things are fucking nasty. But of course, we don't know that yet. I mean, you kind of hint that, like, as you're kind of approaching here, this little pier, like, just the impression of quiet and dread that we get from this location. I think I'd maybe throw that out there. Like, it does not sound like there's a cult inhabiting this cloister here. But if you want to insist on going in, because maybe players think, well, hey, that's good. We don't have to go through the cult. Maybe we can just go in the back and find what we're looking for and get out of here. Because we're not here to really kill the cult. We're here to find these oils and ointments and stuff to get massive amounts of money. So we are going to park our boat here next to the rotted pier, and try and just hop off onto the ground. And right here, we see a statue depicting a bowing hooded monk. His hands bear a stone begging bowl with some copper, silver, and gold in it. I think our group, like many groups, would know better than to touch this. And I could see even someone putting money into the bowl, which doesn't seem to have any effect, but better to be safe than sorry. I'll throw a gold piece in, why not? It's always good practice. Okay, so we wind our way up to these open gates here, and we look in on the courtyard. The oak gates are open, their hinges rusted. Tall, dry grass grows in the courtyard. A pile of sacks full of rotted grain is stacked by the northwest tower. The wall walks along the south and east walls are rotted, and 1 to 3 to collapse under weight. Wall walks. Is this a term? Okay, well, I googled wall walks, and it seems to be some sort of CrossFit thing, so I don't think that's... Okay. They're also called chemin de ronde. also called an allure, or more prosaically, a wall walk, which is a raised, protected walkway behind a castle battlement. That's what it's called. Okay, so it's just a wall. It's the top of the wall behind the battlements. That's what it's called. Chemin de Ronde. In early fortifications, high castle walls were difficult to defend from the ground. Yeah, I can imagine. The Chemin de Ronde was devised as a walkway allowing defenders to patrol the tops of ramparts, protected from the outside by the battlements or a parapet, placing them in an advantageous position for shooting or dropping. It's funny that this had to be invented and wasn't just like the first thought. Like, hey, do we want somebody that can like stand on top of the wall and just shoot down from there or anything? Like, no. You're silly. All right, so that's it. So the wall walks along the south and east walls here are rotted. We wanted to climb up onto the walls on the southern and eastern walls. Okay. So we see the open gate also to the west. And then we see a tower to the northwest with sacks of rotted grain in front of it. And we also see a building, the tower to the northeast. But that one is burned out and hollow. Only the outer walls stand intact. Black charred beams, ashes of molten metal, and items remain. That one just looks shitty. There's a bunch of bushes over to the southeast. The door straight in front of us to the south, and then another... a gate, I guess? It looks like probably a gate to a garden to the southwest. Okay. And we are now going to have to roll underclock. So we're starting with just D6. Very, very quiet. Nothing knows that we're here in any capacity. Okay. But it's going to amp up quick. We don't know that yet, so we're just going to have to make a decision about where we're going. I guess we'll go inspect this tower first. Ruined grain lies here in large sacks. A small hand-operated mill stands in the middle. It is jammed with chips of human bone, which are also collected in a wooden bowl at the base of the contraption. Okay. So one of the stalkers does like to grind human bones here. But it's not here. That's just, you know, I don't know. It's a clue, I suppose. I mean, you could put it here if you just wanted to skip over the random encounter aspect. But we won't. But I will roll now 2d6 as we investigate this. Okay, it's down to 8. And, you know, players are... The underclock is visible, remember. So players would see that and be like, oh, shit. You know. This is not a safe location. Would we really want to just poke around here for too long? We do want to, and we're here for a reason. And it's so quiet, it's like, you know, unnerving. There's not just like orcs or something around in the corner or behind a door. It's like, what the fuck is here that's so bad? Players would, I mean, I'd be on edge. I am on edge. What am I talking about? All right, but I'm drawn over to this pile of bushes here. So we go over there and we find a group of monks, the skeletons. Find a bunch of skeletons here, and we're poking around, and we find a key ring with rusted keys. So obviously we will take that. But in the process now I roll 3d6. Oh yeah. Alright, we have our first encounter. One of the stalkers knows that we're here and is going to pounce. So, first is going to be detection. 5 and 6 chance of surprise is pretty fucking high, so obviously it's going to get advantage on its dex. Question is, do I make it even worse and put a disadvantage on Corin's perception? I feel like that makes it practically impossible for anyone to notice these things. I think for this first one, I'm going to do it that way. And then subsequent ones, when we're really on edge and we know there's invisible creatures around, maybe Corin can focus a little better on not depending on sight as much and maybe just try to listen or something like that. So this first one, we're really just not sure what's going on. So we're going to roll perception, disadvantage. She did still manage to succeed by 2. And then we're going to roll advantage for this thing twice. Oof, 4 is not beatable. Alright. So we do not notice. And it's going to target the weakest looking member of the group, which, yes, would be Eilith, but I don't want to be a dick about it. So it's going to be Villagrad, who is not wearing any armor. Just wearing a cool cloak. So this is going to be an attack. They have +8 because of their hit dice. And this is with advantage. So pretty much guaranteed to hit. Yes, guaranteed to hit. And then that's going to be 4d4 damage. 12. Okay, he's not down, but... Ow! So he just gets ravaged by claws. Blood and chunks of his flesh are just flying. He's screaming in agony. And we can't see anything, but we can tell that there's something on top of him, you know, and is actively shredding him. So now we go to initiative. Failure. That's really a problem for Villagrad, because I don't see why this thing would let up. Like, you know, there's zero reason it would let up. So yeah, it's going to attack again. It's prone, so he gets advantage. He gets another +2. So this is +10. He has to roll a 1. He did not. So it's another 4d4 for 9 damage. So Villagrad is down. Okay. And now it's our turn. So attacking something that's invisible. Do we think we have rules for that? You would imagine. An invisible attacker gains advantage on attacks, blah, blah, blah. Character who cannot be seen at all is protected by a 66% miss chance on all direct attacks, assuming an attacker can narrow down his location by some means. Well, we know that it's on top of Villagrad, so that's our means. But 66% chance. Ugh. Do we have any alternatives of making this thing visible? Not really. I mean, not really. Makes this very dangerous now. I can maybe throw oil at it and cover it in oil. That might help. But I'd have to have someone give up. I'd have to have Corn give up the action to throw oil on it. But honestly, that's probably the best bet. Alright, she's going to throw oil. Which is a perception. Is it? I think so. I think it's perception. Yeah, prone. Okay. So she's just going to make a ranged attack with an oil flask instead of her bow. So that's a D20 plus 4, right? Yes. I guess just roll the bow attack. Although she has the 66% miss chance as well. Alright, so assuming I roll 67 or higher on this, it will hit directly. It does hit directly. Alright, it's not going to do any damage, but it is going to coat it in oil. So, we're making it visible now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's visible. So Danton is going to charge it. He's not fucking around with this thing. So he's going to use long reach to get a free attack. He misses. So now it's his normal attack. There we go. Very nice exploding hit there. So we hit it. Remember, this thing has, on average, 36? No, that can't be right. I should have all these numbers memorized. 9 times 4. That is 36, isn't it? Yeah, it just for some reason has really low numbers for a couple of them. 20 HP on an 8d8 8 hit dice monster? Why does that seem so low? Yeah, it is. It is damn low. That's like a number you'd have on average for a hit dice 5. So, yeah, it should be 36. And I mean, I guess I could use these numbers. Maybe it's using these numbers just to be nicer about it. I guess that could be. So, fine, to be nice, we'll use the 22 HP one. So this thing is down to 9 now. And of course, I'm going to attempt a minor exploit to knock it prone. So strength check. All right, we succeeded by 8. Does it have a 16 strength or higher is the question. I wouldn't think so. That seems kind of high. But it could. Well, we have an invisible stalker, so we don't have to guess. It has an 18 of strength. So he actually succeeded by 2. So if it rolls a natural 19, its target and itself disappears to the void to finish a duel. If the stalker's defeated, the target reappears. It's pretty badass. Alright, so we got it down to 9 health, but we didn't knock it prone. So now Tress is going to have to move in, and she's going to, you know, hopefully hit as well. She's got no fancy tricks. +1. She misses. So that's it for our round, which means we skip over Villagrad. We have to go with Corrin's abysmal initiative. This is only by the grace of gods that we succeed. Ho ho ho, nice. Okay, Corrin's gonna shoot it then. Miss. Danton, you got this. Yes, crit, yes. Dead. Okay, well that was entirely based on Corrin succeeding, because otherwise that thing was gonna run and we'd have to have it surprise us again. Okay, Tress is going to cast Cure Wounds as a tier 1 spell. So that's going to be a willpower check, +1 from Divine Lore. Success, barely. And this heals 1d6 +1, but it doesn't actually heal anything, because when we check Villagrad, healing magic just gives it a +2 on his roll. So this is going to be a death save. +2. Villagrad is dead and gone. Shed a tear for the departed. You have access to a reroll. Really? Now, is this just a bug in the Foundry module, or do you actually get a reroll on a death save? No, you do get a reroll. Wow, okay, that's much more generous than I thought. Well, of course he will reroll. With +2. There you go. Okay, so it takes a couple minutes to patch him up. And he'll be restored to 1, and then he's got to roll on the injury and setback table. So we will roll on the rollable tables. Injury and setback. Roll them bones. Infected wound. Lose 7 con and a further 1d4 con every dawn until the wound is healed. Treatment with the apothecary skill cures the wound after 1d2 days, or cleansing charm cures it instantly. Shit. Well, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. Alright. You're gonna lose 7 fucking con, which seems high, but those are the rules. So that puts him at 8. And he's at 1 hit point. And he's going to be losing more con every dawn until the wound is healed. And theoretically, he could die in 2 days. So, obviously, we're going to treat him with the apothecary skill, because we have that. And that will cure it after 1d2 days. I think at that point, once you treat it, probably you're not going to lose con. I don't know, maybe you would. I know that you can't recover con until it's removed, but I don't know if you'd keep rolling. Like, if you could treat it and then still die. I think it's bad enough just having that huge con hit for that, you know, for a long period of time. So, I don't know. I don't think I'd make it you could still die after you treat it. Well, we're definitely getting an XP for that. Actually, I'm going to give 2 XP for that, because that was dicey. Okay, and now he's at 1 hit point, and he's got an infected wound, and it's, I don't think we'd really know that it's infected immediately, but He's got a nasty-ass wound, and he's near death. So I think she's going to, she's gonna cast Cure Wound again. Okay, good. Fortunately, that doesn't lower this. Alright, so 1d6 plus 1 to... Okay, brings him up to 3. And then we will short rest. Alright, she's gonna just get ability uses back. Alright, he's up to 7. It's not too bad. I'm gonna use Ranger Craft for Healing Salve, so we each recover 2 hit points. Good. And then Corin will, I don't know, is the assumption that I can... No, it doesn't matter. Okay. And then, Danton's... Well, yeah, he's missing an adaptable. He will get that. Oh, also supplies. That's right. You can recover supply... No, you shouldn't... No, you can't recover supplies. You have to go to a town for that. That shouldn't be an option available. Alright, anyways. We probably should get the fuck out of Dodge. That was, that put the fear of God in you, you know? This isn't a good place to be. That might be the only one that's here, but... Yeah, that is enough to terrify you. So I think we're gonna retreat back to our raft for now. So we'll hightail it out of there, and I won't roll again for that. Shit. I mean, we're kind of here now, you know, but painful. We're gonna try and treat his wound with Apothecary. Fucking failure. That's probably not something we want to muck about on. So I guess we'll use a reroll for that. Terrible failure. That seems a lot worse. You think that just makes his wound worse? Seems mean to do. Yeah, it does seem mean to do. Like, just immediately triggering, like, the D4 con loss. But it was a terrible failure on an Apothecary check, and we are in the middle of a swamp and trying to do this on our raft. So, I wouldn't... Yeah, I think so. He loses 2 more con. Shit. Well, now Villegrad's life kind of hangs in the balance. You know, I was looking at this, and I think Duty Bound and Unceasing Hunt probably have to change. I don't know if it's just me and the fact that I'm juggling 4 characters. Maybe if Corin was my only character and I was playing, I'd probably remember a lot more. If I ever miss, like, oh, you get a +2 now, and oh, I could actually trigger, you know, spend Ranger Craft to make it advantage. Because getting an advantage on attack is pretty awesome. So it's probably just the fact that I am juggling 4 characters and I forget a lot of stuff. But it's probably not great mechanic design to force a player to remember that they missed the previous turn. And there might be a better way to do this. I don't know, I kind of should look at other ranged classes in games. Try and just steal something else. Like, surely D&D 5e has some sort of ranger nonsense. So they've got favored enemy, favored enemy, natural explorer, fighting style archery. You get +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. That's probably a little OP in this game because AC does not get as ridiculous. And I think even +1 is... Well, okay. Honestly, though, as a comparison, you could take a beast companion, an animal companion. And let's just look at those numbers real quick. So a beast companion at level 1 will have a +1 attack bonus. And so we'll hit, you know, an average goblin or something like that 50% of the time. And deal, I mean, the wolf. Say you take the wolf. 50% of the time, dealing 1d8 damage, meaning that it's likely to kill a goblin. 50% chance to just probably kill a goblin every round. And has like an AC probably of like 13 with 6 health or so itself. That's at level 1. And it's the fact that it's a beast companion that you can send like to scout and stuff like that, or, you know, wolves get advantage when tracking, things like that. And, you know, it has its own chance of critting or getting natural 19 effects, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, that is... I mean, it's not quite as good as having like an extra character in your party, but it's basically just like a free hireling. Forever. Compare that to just +1 to ranged attacks. Now, me, I'd take the +1 to ranged attacks, but I don't think that that's honestly better. And I could see doing +2 to ranged attacks instead. You're giving up your entire beast companion throughout your whole thing. Because at level 6, your wolf is going to have still probably 13 AC, but it'll have a hit dice, so like 4 plus 12 hit points. So it'll have like 16 health. It'll have +6 attack bonus. Still only going to do a d8 of damage, unless maybe there's a unique feature or something that can buff that a little bit. And at 7th level, your beast companion reduces all damage it takes by 2 and gets the rogue skirmisher ability. So yeah, you know, and if it happens to die, you just get another one during downtime. So it just keeps, you just, you know, you always have your beast companion with you. So I think +1 to attack rolls with, you know, range attack rolls, or really just +1 to attack rolls, is not that bad, and it's just something that would always be applied. It's not as exciting as like Unceasing Hunt, where you get to roll with advantage certain times, but it's way less bookkeeping and is just kind of good. So I don't know, I think we're probably going to change it. So I think Duty Bound, we're just going to change to +1 to attack rolls. I don't want to make it strictly ranged, because I feel like rangers should be able to do a wide variety of attacks. So we're just going to do +1 to all attack rolls. And I'm going to go here and change that to a 1. And then Unceasing Hunt, I'm going to change to can use rerolls for attacks. Because we already have a built-in reroll system, so we can just use that. I don't think there's really any way for me to use, just to link that or anything, so it's just linked to Ranger Craft. So if you want to reroll an attack, you have to use Ranger Craft and one of your rerolls. So it's a bit hefty, but there aren't many ways to reroll attacks, I would imagine. So we'll go with that. I don't know, I just noticed that now and thought about it. It was like, I have yet to use Duty Bound once. So I'd rather just have some benefit that's on my sheet. Alright, so yeah, Villigrad's in really rough shape. I think we might have to go all the way back to town, because this is bad. And really even getting back to Sylvash is not the end-all be-all place to recover or anything, but it is safe. But we're so far. Like, it's the following day, and we went 1, 2, 3 already, so the day is already half over. If I push it, we could go another 5, but that would be 1, 2, down to F, 3, 4, 5. If I push it, we could just arrive at Sylvash at the end of the night. But I do have to roll 5 random encounter checks along the way. And technically those guards at Slimy Water are going to be back up. So we're probably just going to have to gun them down as we go. But yeah, I think... And then we have to come all the way back. But man, did I get fucked up right away. That's what I wanted, though. I thought, like, we've been having such an easy go of it. I needed to get my shit pushed in a little. So, alright, let's make our way back. So really, let's do 1, 2, 3 rolls, and then we'll deal with Slimy Water. Okay, we did get a random encounter. D12. 12. The Shambling Mound. Oh, God. So it's got AC 0, which means 19. Hit dice 8. So it's probably got, yeah, like 32 health or something. Immune to fire, grows from lightning, and weapons deal half damage. Fuck. Does Tales of Argosa have a Shambling Mound? No. At least not by that name. It could be a Slop Gorger. But no, I don't think so. So we will have to go with this. What's the reaction roll? 9. That's generally just kinda it wants to eat us. But it's kinda high. It's relatively high. If we use a generic reaction table, like if we use Shadow Darks, 9 is neutral. So we would just kind of see it shambling by. And probably ignore the ever-loving shit out of it. Because... yikes. Yeah, I mean, that's not much of an encounter, but... yeah, I don't know. It depends on how you describe it to players. They might investigate, but we're really trying to just avoid everything, so we're going to avoid it. That reaction roll was good for us. So then we get to Slimy Water, and we kind of turn the bend, and we see the 3 guards back on duty, and the gates down and everything. So I think we're not gonna muck about here, because they're just they're carrying halberds, more ceremonial than useful, and sabers. So really we just want to send them packing, but I'm not above shooting them in the fucking face. So as soon as they're within sight and range, Corrin is just gonna start firing. Crit. Alright, so yeah, she domes one. Dead as shit. Because they're 2 hit dice fighters, right? So they have like 9 health. So yeah, that one's dead. And now we can roll initiative. Okay, terrible failure. So we're just kind of looking at them, and they're probably going to run because one of them just instantly died, and we have ranged weaponry, and we already put them to sleep once for probably hours. So yeah, I imagine they're going to run. Especially because it also says that they are easy to fool or intimidate. So I don't imagine they have high morale. Yeah, I don't even know if they're really, I don't think it's really even an evil village. I think this is an evil action we've just done. Yeah, I think that was a fairly evil action we've done, and we're not looked kindly upon, but we're never gonna stop in this village, so leave the fucking gate up. I'm tempted to just, like, destroy the gate, to be honest. Fine, yeah, we're gonna take a moment, and we'll just hack apart the gate and shatter it, and before moving on. Enough with your gates. I don't know how many really other guards there are in the place. Doesn't really talk about it. I'd love just like a population number or anything like that, so I could just have a general idea of it. But I don't get the impression it's a big settlement. I don't know. There's probably 100 or so here, I would imagine. There's probably more guards. So maybe they are coming, they're running after us as we sail away, leaving the broken gate behind us. Alright, and then 2 more. Okay, no more random encounters, and we make it back to Sylvash. And we'll plonk down a gold. And then probably also we want to pay an apothecary. I don't know, Tress is as good as any apothecary. Well, no, her int is kind of shit. I'll pay for an apothecary. I'll throw 5 gold down to get properly treated. So we'll assume that Villagrad is properly treated now. Yeah, that was messy. I'm tempted to long rest here. Because we can. You know, spend a week here. There's nothing that says I can't, and I don't know what would really change. It's kind of tricky because I haven't read the whole module, you know, I don't know everything that's going on, so maybe something would happen, but I just don't know. But yeah, I think we're going to long rest here. So I'm going to deduct 7 more gold. I'm sure the temple guy is not too pleased about it. But hey, we got our asses handed. It's dangerous out there. You have no idea. Long rest, long rest, long rest, long rest. That's back to 18. Alright, yeah. So, good. We recover 1 point of luck. So Danton actually is not at full luck. But we do recover all our attribute damage, thankfully. Alright, well, I'm going to leave it off there for today. I know we didn't really accomplish much. But yeah, we should have a pretty easy time to get back to the cloister next time. And, probably try the other buildings there that are not eerily quiet and ominous. Because that was painful. Yeah. Alright. Anyways, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging with Tales of Argosa. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.